Right now, we are raising a very small round to cover some construction costs that were unanticipated. We call it a bridge round, and it'll be closed very, very soon. And we intend to follow that with our fourth round, our Series C round. And we have actually, at this point, we've raised $22 million. Raising capital is never easy. We have phenomenal investors who continue to support us round after round, and we're always looking for new investors who might be interested in our mission and helping us achieve the impossible.
From MJBulls Media, it's the Raising Cannabis Capital Show. Today on Raising Cannabis Capital, we are joined by Dooma Wendschuh, the CEO and co-founder of Province Brand of Canada. Dooma, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Province Brand of Canada is the developer of the world's first and only beer brewed from the cannabis plant. And when I first read this, I was like, wait, it seems like I've heard about other cannabis beers, but they're not the same, are they?
No, in fact, there's this nexus between cannabis and beer, which I find just fascinating and obviously drew me to co-found this company and create these amazing products. Cannabis is part of a family of plants that is called Cannabaceae. There are exactly two members in that plant family. One of them is cannabis, the other is hops. And so these plants are very closely related, and hops, if you don't know, is sort of one of the dominant flavorings in beer, and beer typically has four ingredients: hop, barley, water, and yeast. That's basically it. And so for that reason, people have been experimenting with cannabis and beer for quite some time. If you look on the internet, you'll find people who are brewing beer and using marijuana flower in place of hops. Now, that would be very expensive, and no one's going to do that in a commercially viable way. And hops is just a flavoring in beer, so all that's doing is giving you a different flavor. You'll also find people brewing what you call hemp beers. So that would be a typical beer brewed from barley, an alcohol product that is flavored with usually hemp seeds, actually, to give it kind of that nice hempy flavor. And then you'll find folks who are infusing beer with marijuana terpenes. You'll even find people who are infusing beer with CBD, right? I'm talking about alcohol beer here. Yeah. And then when you look over on the marijuana side of the industry, you'll find folks who are making non-alcoholic beers from barley and infusing those with a marijuana oil. And so that's what's existed before our company. And what we're doing is very different, right? We are the first company in the world to actually mash and ferment the cannabis plant. And this is not something that's easy to do. When my co-founder and I started the company, we traveled around and met with some of the top master brewers in the world. And, we said, hey, look, we want to start this business. We want to brew a beer from cannabis. And I knew nothing about how to make a beer, and they would laugh at us. They would say that this is impossible. To brew a beer, you need to start with the starch. It's usually a grain. It's usually barley. You can cook that starch to create a sugar, and then the yeast can ferment the sugar. And when the yeast acts on that sugar, that's what creates these esters, these sort of organoleptic compounds that people associate with beer. That's beer flavor, right? And with cannabis, you have no grains, you have no starch, you have no sugar. There's nothing to ferment. I'm the kind of person, when someone tells me that you can't do something, it just makes me want to do it all that much more.
Yep.
We spent the past 3 years building a phenomenal team of research scientists and developing an incredible technology to actually mash and ferment cannabis. And now we are patent pending on both the process and the formulation of these beers brewed from cannabis.
Oh my gosh. So you've developed a process that allows you to mash and ferment the cannabis plant the same way beer makers mash and ferment barley?
That's exactly right, yes. And the part of the plant that we use is very interesting. Basically, the stalks, the stems, and the roots of the marijuana plant, which the cultivators in Canada, they can't throw it away, right? You don't want people rooting through the trash to try to get high. You can't incinerate it. You might get the whole neighborhood high, right? So it's a cost center for the cultivators. We collect it, and we turn it into a premium beer. We give it another life.
Oh, my gosh, that's so cool. So you use the stalks and the stems and the roots, which essentially is garbage for everybody else, so your costs are low. And you're also helping out at the environment, so that's a win all the way around. Let's jump forward and talk about the beer that you created. I know it tastes like beer because, like you said, you only use 4 ingredients, or water, hops, yeast, and cannabis. But even though it tastes similar, it's different because there's no alcohol, it's low in calories, it's gluten-free, and it contains THC. So is there a psychoactive sensation?
Absolutely. Our company is a mission-driven business, and our mission is to create a less harmful alternative to alcohol, right? And some people are like, oh, there's already NA beer. Yeah, there's non-alcoholic beer, but if your friend is drinking real beer and you're drinking non-alcoholic beer, you're not having the same experience, right?
Right.
You're experiencing the world kind of differently, right? So we're developing products that are psychoactive and that are meant to be used in the same social situations as an alcohol beer. That means that, importantly, our products will have an onset time that is about the same as alcohol. That's really important, right? You want to feel the effect very quickly. They'll have a short duration effect. And there's other things we're doing as well to make a product that really resonates with the alcohol consumer, including this process that we've developed, craftsmanship, this sort of entirely new brewing tradition that our company has developed. And something that strikes me as interesting about adult beverages is that people love to become an expert in them and just talk about them. Like you go to dinner with some friends and they want to talk about red wine because like they want to just show you how much they know about it, or craft beer, or people can talk forever about single malt scotch and what makes a good one, and it's more peaty and all this. And like, if you think about it, like people don't do that about apple juice, right? We don't do that with Coca-Cola, right? There's something about adult beverages that we love to become an expert in. And so with this technology we've developed, there's sort of a craftsmanship to it, there's a provenance, and there's a million different types of beverage we can make with it. So it really has what we call a reason to speak. It's very different from an infused marijuana beverage.
I love that, reason to speak. That's a great way to describe what you're doing. And, you know, you're going to be the expert. People are going to love to go out to dinner with you because you're going to be able to talk all day about this.
Oh man, by the time I get to dinner, I don't want to talk about it more because I'm thinking about it all day. But if I have to, I will.
I think one really exciting thing that you have on the plate is, on top of essentially creating an entirely new category of beer, you're now building the world's first cannabis brewery. This is so cool. The world's first cannabis brewery.
Oh yeah, and people ask us all the time, why are we doing that, right? Because typically, if you were going to launch an alcohol beer brand, you would just have someone else co-pack the beer for you. But in the cannabis industry, in Canada, you can't produce a beverage that contains marijuana in the same facility that produces alcohol. So there actually are no co-packers that could co-pack the beverage for us. So we had to build our own. But even if there were co-packers, they wouldn't be able to make our beer because we developed this very special technology for basically converting the stalk, stems, and roots of the cannabis plant into fermented beverage. And that requires specialized equipment, some custom-made equipment, and some other equipment that's not necessarily custom-made, but that you would never find in a brewery. Mm-hmm. So we've had to build our own facility, and it is amazing. It is a 123,000 square foot facility. We're located in Grimsby, Ontario, which is just the start of the Niagara wine region. So it's eventually going to be a great stop on your wine tour. It is full of just cutting edge equipment that has in some cases been designed by us, or in other cases never been used to brew a beverage before. Everything food grade and just amazing. And we have still under construction, looking to complete that. We are raising capital to help complete that, and then very excited to get these groundbreaking products into the market and start changing the world.
Oh my gosh. Just listening to this and knowing about, you have two patents that are pending right now on your technology, and it can go in a lot of different directions. I'm sure investors are really interested in this process.
Absolutely. And, you talked about the patents and investors. We attract a fair number of what's called strategic investors, right? And that's because, look, we're a mission-driven company. Our mission is to create a less harmful alternative to alcohol. But we ended up creating this technology which could be used for all kinds of other things. And that wasn't even the plan. We weren't trying to do that. But recently we were contacted by a global spirits company, and they are making, amongst other things, they make tequila, right? And what they do with the leftover part of the agave plant, once they harvest it, they just take the heart to make tequila, and the rest of the plant, they burn it. It just goes into the atmosphere. They said, can you make for us a beer from the rest of the agave plant, an alcohol beer? And I'm like, well, no, because we're a marijuana company, but we can license you the technology and you can do it. And people are talking to us about trying to make a beer from lemongrass. That would be amazing, right? So this technology licensing is one of the pillars of our business and one of our main revenue streams. And in terms of raising capital, Right now, we are raising a very small round to cover some construction costs that were unanticipated. We call it a bridge round, and it'll be closed very, very soon. And we intend to follow that with our fourth round, our Series C round. And we have actually, at this point, we've raised $22 million. Oh, wow. Raising capital is never easy. We have phenomenal investors who continue to support us round after round, and we're always looking for new investors who might be interested in our mission and helping us achieve the impossible.
Well, we'll have all your information in our show notes and also on MJBulls.com website. So if your investors are out there right now and want more information, you can check it out there. And Dooma, this is really exciting stuff. I really appreciate you being on the show and talking to us about this today.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for your time and interest.
Today's show was made possible by the generous support of our sponsors, like Alt36, the country's premier blockchain payment processing platform that's providing dispensaries and its customers with a safe and secure payment option other than cash. To learn more, go to alt36.com. We're proud to feature today's episode on the MJBulls Cannabis Podcast Network, a platform designed exclusively for cannabis podcasts to share their message with the world. To learn more or to enjoy another great cannabis podcast, go to MJBulls.com or, coming soon, download the MJ Bulls app to your Apple or Android phone.